Right angle weave is a stitch that people love to hate. People either will pick it up very intuitively. The people who pick it up really quickly tend to be people who have a mathematic or engineering kind of mind. And then there's those people who just have trouble seeing what's going on. And so it's totally normal that people struggle with right angle weave. The best way that I like to think of right angle weave is, as we're adding, it's a series of boxes basically that we're building, and you're building a house for your first box. So your first box has a ceiling, and it has a roof, and it has a wall and a wall. Then when you go to, and so that would be your first strip of right angle weave. Now if you're building a row house, right, then the one wall over here is going to be shared with the house that's next door. So when you go to build the house next door, all you have to add is the roof, the roof, the floor, and the outside wall, because you've already got this wall built with your neighbor over there. So that's how you build the boxes for your first row. Then you have to start almost thinking apartments after that when you go to add your next row. So you've got a box here that's got your ceiling and the two walls and the floor. Now you're going to build an apartment on top of it. Well, the ceiling of the first box is now going to become the floor of the box above it. So you only have to add the two walls and a new ceiling because your floor is already there. So, you know, that can help people visualize what's going on when they're looking at a square and going, what do I need to add? Just analyze what's there already and then how you need to fill in and finish that box. There's one other little trick to right angle weave though. The reason it's called right angle weave is because when you come to an intersection of beads, you can turn right, you can turn left, which will make it a 90-degree angle, but you can't go straight ahead. And that's the part that really confuses people, is sometimes it's kind of like a series of one-way streets. Sometimes to get where you want to be, you have to take a roundabout route to get there, because remember, every intersection you can turn right, you can turn left, no straight ahead. So let me kind of show you what's going on with the beads. It'll start making a little more sense. I am going to use these fire polish beads because they sit at really good right angles, so it's really easy to see your boxes. And the other thing about using the fire polish is that, well, they just show up better on camera. I'm actually I think it's easiest for people to start out using a shape like a fire polish and then transition to seed beads. When I've taught this class before and we've started out using fire polish, as they learn the technique and then transition to seed beads, it was a much smoother learning experience for the people. So the other thing that I'm concentrating on in this video today is we're going to use multiple beads per side on our box. It makes the boxes a little bit easier to see. So my roof here, or the beads that I'm going to add here, I'm going to add 2 beads for each side. So instead of it being 4 beads, roof, wall, wall, floor, I'm going to add 2 beads for my roof, 2 beads for my wall, 2 beads for my other wall, and then 2 beads for my floor. So that means for my very first box, I need to pick up 8 beads. 6, 7, 8. And that actually leads me to tell you something else, which is that you can do right angle weave stitch with any number of beads for each side. So for instance, I have some projects where I do 3 beads per side and some projects where I do 4 beads per side. And the reason for adjusting that bead per side is to adjust the size of the box. Sometimes I'm trying to embellish inside there and I'm wanting my box to match the size of my embellishment bead. That might be a reason to make those alterations. So like I said though, what we're going to do right now is 2 beads per side. So there's my 8 beads. I'm going from the tail end back up through all of them. You may have to do this in more than one pass. I just got lucky, got it all through one. But you see that that still doesn't like turn it into a box. So I'm going to actually keep going around and pass through the first 2 fire polish one more time. And there we go. So I know that this kind of looks more like a circle, but if you analyze it, here's our 2 across the top, our 2 across the bottom, our right wall, and our left wall, okay? I am a creature of habit, so I always like to build away from my tail thread. So here's my needle is coming out the same place that my tail thread is. I would actually like to be coming out of these beads across over here so that I'm opposite where the tail thread is. So that means I'm going to travel across these 2 beads and through these 2 beads. So I'm going forward 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here I'm going to build the next house next door. So here's my wall already built. I just need to add my ceiling, my right wall, and my floor. So that means I'm only picking up 6 beads because 2 are already there. They're going to be shared. And 1 more. I'm going to attach these 6 by passing back through the shared wall here. I'm going to have to go in, I think of this as chasing my thread. So I'm going in the side that my thread is not coming out of. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look now. Here we go. There's our shared wall. There's my new ceiling, my new right wall, and there's my new floor. Again, I want to get to this outside edge to be able to add another set of beads. So, and you notice how I'm kind of just flipping this around to get the angle on it as I'm moving through the beads. Don't be afraid to do that. That's one of the reasons why your tail thread is really useful, because it can be a handy, helpful navigator for you. Okay, so I'm gonna just add one more house here, and so I'm going to pick up 6 since I've already got 2 there with my shared wall, and 6. Okay, you notice that this time my thread is coming down out of this, where the last time it was coming up. It will alternate, so you can't, one of the things with right angle weave is you can't get too complacent. It's going to alternate where your thread is coming out. So just remember that we're chasing the thread, so we're passing through the bead that does not have the thread coming out of it. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work my way around this apartment and come out the ceiling, because we're going to start adding our first apartment on top. So I'm going to come across here and up here. Your first row is pretty straightforward. Once you get the shared wall concept, it's pretty easy to do. It's once you start adding additional rows like we're about to do that it seems like there's a lot of extra weaving around that you need to do, but that's normal, so just don't let it confuse you. Okay, so what was the roof here is now become the floor of our new unit. So we're going to pick up 6. This is the first apartment building of our second floor. So we only have one shared wall, and and shared wall, by wall I mean it's the floor. Remember, I'm going in the side that there's no thread, so that part's still the same. Okay. Now if we look at what's going on, here's our new apartment, and wall, wall, ceiling, floor. Now, if we look forward to this next apartment that we need to build, look, we've got 2 of our 4 pieces, because we've got, here's going to be our new floor, and here's our shared wall. So we're only going to have to add 4 beads, because we'll have to add a ceiling and a left wall here. But see how my thread is coming out way over here? I need to be on the outside edge of either here or here to be able to add more beads. So here's where our rule of you can turn right, you can turn left, you cannot go straight ahead will help you out. If I want to go this way, see how my thread goes, that's going straight ahead, and my thread crosses this intersection. Means I can't do that. So my only option is to go up, take that 90-degree turn. There we go. So now I'm ready to add these two parts of our apartment. So that means we're picking up 4 beads. One section, and there's 2. To attach these, we're going to pass, you're going to think of it as going in a circle. So I picked up this, I picked up this. Now I'm going to keep going around by passing across these beads and then back up through the ones that my thread is currently coming out of. So across and back up. That just took care. Now we have the 2 apartments side by side. There's our shared wall, and we've got all this. But now we need to get way over here to add our last apartment for this particular level. So I'm going to just keep passing around these beads. Once you get to the intersection, when there's nothing there, it's pretty obvious that I need to now pass down through these. Now, here is the next question though. My thread is kind of in the middle here. And actually, let me back this up because this is something else that I've seen people get confused at. They have just come across the ceiling, and now people will say, well, I'm just going to pick up my 2 ceiling beads here and my 2 left wall beads here and go around here. But look how that's going to leave your thread crossing across this intersection right here. And so that does not work. You have to be within the same set of beads that is going to be part of this apartment. So what you have to do, and this is where that whole doing more passing around of your thread comes in. So now here I am, I can't add beads here. I'm right in this middle of this intersection. So I have to take a turn to get to the outside edge. Now I can finally add more beads. So I will pick up my left wall and my ceiling. I'm going to keep going around in a circle, which means I'm going down my right wall and across my floor. Then to get in position to add another set of apartments, I'm coming up the wall, across that ceiling, and here I am. I'm ready to add a new apartment. And remember, your first apartment that you add on each row, you're going to be picking up 6 beads instead of just 4 the way you do on the remaining apartments, because you only have one shared piece right here. So that is flat right angle weave. You're going to have to practice it a little bit. That's totally normal. I also have a download of just basic right angle weave instructions. If a written pattern with some diagrams helps you out, I've got that available for you at jillwisemandesigns.com. I hope that you practice it and learn it, because it really opens up a world of additional really cool patterns for you to play with. Happy beading!